Hello everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. It is the fan reaction show after Chelsea have just beaten Newcastle by 2-0. I'm here with Liam. Evening to you, Liam. We'll get your reaction to the game first. What did you make of it?
I thought the second half was better, but it was still like an underwhelming performance.
It was, wasn't it? And 2 poor goals, but I just felt Newcastle didn't show up in the first half, did they?
No, I can't even remember having the ball at any point during the first half.
No, it was just difficult to say the least of it, because I've just felt that Newcastle were just so... I think they gave Chelsea far too much respect in the first half, and I think that showed, but we'll get everybody's thoughts. I remember the link will be at the top of your comments page. Liam was doing the magic tonight and getting you in and out. Liam, we're going to get the first person in. That'd be brilliant, my friend.
Yep. Oh.
There you go, magic. Who have we got here?
Harry, but he hasn't got his mic on.
Harry, can you hear us? Harry? Get somebody else on there while Harry sorts out his...
All right then, James.
Hello, James, how are you
doing? Deflated, but I'm all right.
To be honest with you, James, was it a game that you expected us to get anything from?
No. I wanted to still go into the game, attacking and everything, and playing good. But I don't care if we're lost or not, if we played good.
Yeah, I think. Were you happy with the team selection that Steve Bruce started with? Because I was quite happy with the fact Gale was starting up front, for example.
Yeah, but he didn't turn up today. That's the thing. And Kraft at right back was exposed, and Hayden needed to help him out a bit more, I think.
Emil Kraft is always a debate, isn't he, Liam? Me and Sam have had plenty of debates on him. What did you think tonight, Liam?
He was definitely Kraft-like. It was a tough one because I think he was exposed a lot of the time, and I think the exposed to weaknesses, and I think if we're playing in a diamond formation, it's going to be that they're going to expose it down the wings. But not what we can really do about it. Like Bruce didn't change it, so there's not what we can do.
Yeah. What was your biggest issue with Newcastle tonight, James?
Well, started off a bit. Well, with the Lascelles tackle, I thought that was probably the highlight of the game for us, because it was just a good tackle and that. But then from that, we were just rubbish.
Yeah, it was really deflating. The first goal in particular for me, Werner has so much time to go and run at our defence, puts a cross in, and just didn't deal with it at all, and went straight into Giroud's in the 6-yard box, and he puts it away. It was just a matter of time, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, but another thing is, why are they letting Werner back on the pitch when he's just injured, getting treatment with his lip?
I think it's one of those grey areas in terms of bringing players back on. It was a very small cut, wasn't it? It wasn't really anything that you could...
Exactly.
Is it a massive health issue? I don't know. I'm no doctor, but I don't think it really was. But the second goal was just as poor. Really poor marking from Jamal Lewis at the back post, and Werner's there to put it in just over tap it over the line.
Mm-hmm.
James, it was just, again, another matter of time. It was just too lazy from Jamal Lewis.
It could have been disallowed, but I couldn't have seen it disallowed with the VAR getting involved. But yeah, it was poor defended by Lewis, and Darlow needed to do better with his marking positioning with it, because obviously he was he's marking the near post. He needs to be in the middle of the goal, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And do you think we improved in the second half, James? I thought we had a couple of chances. Nothing that really made Kepa work that much, but it was slightly better in the second half.
Slightly, but not as good as we've been like other weeks. But apart from the Willock header, I thought that was another good chance we should have done. Amaron putting it in the stands. That was, yeah. But Joelinton just rubbish again. I thought we could have had a penalty with Carroll, but I couldn't see that given a penalty. But yeah, that's it about the second half as well. just rubbish at the same time.
Exactly. Who's your man of the match tonight?
Can I change man of the match to moron of the match, please?
Do whatever you like. Do whatever you like.
Moron of the match, I would say Emil Kraft, even though he was exposed. But I can't. He was rubbish, honestly.
I'm sure Mr. Nolan will be watching this as well, James. I'm sure he'd be absolutely biting at the lip going, he's wrong. But we think we know who's right on this occasion, don't we, Liam?
Yeah, you.
Get your comments in who you think was Newcastle's man of the match tonight, or more on of the match if you want to listen to what James has been saying. Finally, James, it's Man United on Sunday. It's going to be a repeat of what's been tonight, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I can see 5 at the back coming back.
I hope not, but we'll have to wait and see. James, it's been brilliant having you on. Hopefully we'll see you on Sunday after the Man United game. Thank you very much for coming along.
Alright, bye.
See you later.
Bye.
We'll get 2 in. We'll get Harry and Casey in.
Harry and Casey, right. We have to change it to a 4.
Gone, so it'll be Harry and Proudlock.
Harry and Proudlock, brilliant. And just while Liam's changing, there we go, beautiful. We've got the fantastic 4 there. Harry, we'll start with you. Harry, what are your thoughts on the match tonight?
Shocking, really. Other than, I suppose, a little bit at the start of the game and second half, first 10 minutes, shocking. No pressure. It's just like what we used to see, but a different formation. And I thought Chelsea were dreadful. They had a plan which worked, but they didn't create anything. They didn't batter the goal down. I mean, they had a chance in the first half, but there were nothing special tonight. And it was just a match where 2 bad teams played against each other, and they got the better of it because we were just slightly worse, really.
Yeah, Harry, they played with 2 number 6s today in Kovacic and Jorginho, really just to control the game. And then it allowed Mason Mount to kind of do his own bit of magic, and obviously outnumbered us a little bit at times in midfield, I thought. What were your thoughts on the fact that Chelsea kind of played 2 number 6s, 2 protective defensive midfielders?
Interesting, but it makes kind of sense with a back 3, especially with the wing backs pushing really high. They want that bit of extra protection, especially with our kind of pace on the counter-attack with Almiron and Saint-Maximin. So you can understand kind of them wanting 2 number 6s, deeper players to break up the play if they need to. But I thought Chelsea really, obviously, as I said, I don't think they played well, but they really executed the plan well. They exposed us out wide because we don't play with width in this kind of formation. There's no recognised wingers. And I thought we should have had the tactical now. So that's where you criticise to change that. And that was never really changed in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Proudlock, what was your summary of the first half in particular? I felt, like Harry says, we just gave Chelsea far too much respect. We didn't really create anything at all. Obviously, Kepa's come in for Chelsea, who's been out in the cold, has to be said. And we'd never really tested him in particular the first half.
No, I mean, first half was an absolute shocker, was it? I mean, Kraft and Lewis, you've got to question both of them the night for the goals were conceded. Kraft, the way Timo Werner absolutely spins them is absolutely unbelievable. And Lewis he's completely ball watched for that second goal. I mean, away, man.
Yeah,
Second half.
The first goal was tough to take, wasn't it, Proudlock?
Yeah, I mean, why is Kraft allowed to be beat like that? I mean, second half was a little bit better, but it just wasn't as much better. I mean, the substitutions, I thought they were questionable. I mean, Dolan, don't get me started with the lad. He brings me absolute zero confidence. I thought what I would have done is probably bring Fraser on and have maybe Miggy playing as a bit of a false number 9. The second substitution, Fraser for ASM. Fair enough, ASM wasn't my best player. But Bruce has always said he wants to play both of them out on the wings. Now what's he saying now that's making him going against it? and taken off Willock for Carroll. I thought Willock was one of our better players. The one I would have took off him was Shelby. I'm sorry, but I think Shelby's legs have gone now. He's not the same player anymore. Free kick, okay, was decent, but that was it. Shelby's, I think, he's done. Shelby, I think that's the one we need to offload now in the summer. He's been at the club far too long, and I don't think he's good enough anymore.
Liam, do you think Shelby was good today, or do you think the game passed him by a little bit?
The game passed them by in the first half, and then I think all of them seem to get a rocket up their arse for the first 20 minutes, and then it sort of just died off after that. Like Shelby was sprinting about, but like his sprinting's like someone's whacking half the time. Do you know what I mean? but I was going to make a point, and I've just completely forgot. I think with Kepa in, obviously he wasn't due to come in, but like, if you seen him in goal, you would literally just be launching balls into the box because you know he's going to mess up. And we just seem to be just fannying on with it. Like, my idea would have been bring Carroll on for the Joe Linton substitution, and then just launch balls at Kepa.
Yeah, 100%. Harry, Dwight Gale started today, and there was a bit of, I don't know if you watched the Black and White show on Saturday, but me, Sam, and Lee all had different ideas in regards to how Newcastle were going to go with that particular striking option, and me and Lee thought that Gale was the right man. I mean, very similar to Callum Wilson, whereas Sam wanted to go with Andy Carroll because he's more of a presence. Who would you have started, Harry, tonight? Obviously, I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but if you were Steve Bruce tonight.
To be fair, before the game, I probably would have agreed with you. But yeah, as you say, in hindsight, I think the physicality of Andy Carroll, especially in the formation, we really missed a presence up there, especially against kind of less physical centre-halves, such as Christensen, Azpilicueta. You can kind of pick on them. For example, we played a lot of long balls, and the more long balls you play into Andy Carroll, he's not going to lose to Azpilicueta in a physical battle, is he? So if you kind of pick a hole at them, target one area, in hindsight, obviously, I think Andy Carroll would have been a good choice to start. But as I say, I would have probably picked Gale. Anyways.
Are you nervous? Oh.
Go on, Liam. What are you going to say?
Are you nervous because obviously Fulham now have got picked up points, so we're only 7 points behind us now, and they've got Burnley and Sheffield United to play.
You go first.
Go on, Prime Look, you go for it.
Starting to feel that way. I mean, if we play like that at Old Trafford, we may as well just... We'll not be getting anything out of that. No chance. We will. If they're looking at one of the winnable games, you would think the most winnable will probably be Sheffield United for them.
Mm-hmm.
Burnley. That could be a draw, just Burnley. I think Burnley have been playing really good lately. But you can't be relying on teams just to pick up points.
Yeah.
The next couple of weeks are very, very crucial, I think, in terms of Newcastle, because we've got Manchester United next away from home, which I think a lot of fans have already written that one off. And then it's a winnable game against Wolves at home at the end of the month. But by that point, like you say, Fulham have got Burnley, Sheffield United and Crystal Palace before we play Wolves on the 27th. I'm putting it out there. I think Fulham will get at least 4 or 5 points. And if that's the case, it's about 2 or 3 point gap and we're right back in the relegation battle. It's just so tense again. That Southampton result is massive, Harry.
Oh, huge. But at the same time, I know it's looking far ahead, but Fulham have got a dreadful run of games after those 3 fixtures. So you've got to look at that and think we play Wolves, West Brom, and a couple of other teams perhaps lower down. So you like to think we can make a bit of ground afterwards if they catch us up a bit. But yeah, I agree. It's not looking great.
We just need to make sure that we're 4 points clear of Fulham on the last day of the season.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
That last game doesn't mean absolutely anything. Last question for you, lads, before we get some more people in. Who was your man of the match tonight? Start with you, Power Block.
gold. The whole one, because I didn't think hardly anyone played brilliant. Oh, this is a tough one. Gold. I thought Willock was
Don't rush. Who do you say, sorry?
I thought Willock was probably our best player.
Harry, do you agree or do you disagree?
I can't lie. I don't think anyone played well, particularly. Fullbacks were dreadful. Midfield, nothing really going on up front. I would probably give it to it'd be between Willock and Clark. I think I'd maybe go for Clark. Not that he did anything particularly well. I just didn't notice him make a mistake like I did everyone else.
It's probably a fair reflection. Liam, where do you stand on it? Who was your man of the match tonight?
Nobody. I don't think anybody was that good enough to get man of the match. I don't even think you could put more. I think people were just exposed all over the part of the day, and I think it was just a hard game. I don't think anybody really realistically expected it to get anything, so it wasn't 5. 2-0 is a comfortable score for me. Obviously, you didn't want to see a team lose, but I'd rather see we lose 2-0 than 5. So
exactly. Proud Harry, thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully, see you after the game against Manchester United on Sunday evening. Hopefully, it's a little bit better. But thanks again, lads.
See you later, lads.
Liam, who are we bringing on next?
I was going to bring on Andrew, but then it kept changing, so 2 seconds.
This is Liam's first time on the controls, so you'll get there. Andrew, welcome to the Fan Reaction Show. How are you?
How's you guys? Good?
Yeah, not too bad at all. What did you make of it tonight?
What a frustrating performance. I'm as much as I'm guilty because I predicted 2-0 last week, I thought at least we'd have a go, and we just didn't today. I think if I was Jamal Lewis, I'd be rather annoyed at my partner in crime on that left side because Saint-Maximin left him out to dry today at times. Kraft had an awful game, not because of the want to help people around him, but Jamal Lewis is probably going to get some criticism today, and I think some of it's a little bit unjustified.
Do you think first half, Andrew, in particular, that we just gave Chelsea far too much respect? It was kind of like, right, we'll see how the game kind of goes in the first half an hour, but it was just attack after attack after attack. And if you let these top teams do that, they're going to score. And 2-0 didn't flatter us. Like, it was brilliant for Chelsea fans if you are a Chelsea fan, but it was just nice and easy for them.
A bit of a rehearsal for the Man United game, I think. Try and get our shape right, ready for them coming, because I think attacking wise, Man United are better than Chelsea. I think Chelsea, if that had been another team today with the chances they had, we would have been looking at a 4 or 5-0 rather than just 2. So I think this game's just been a kind of a preview of what we've got to expect against Man United.
Talking about the defence, Jamal Lascelles and Kieran Clark were the two in the defence today. Obviously, they're both, obviously in particular, Kieran Clark was missing the last game because his missus just gave birth. Do you think they're the best 2 centre-halves at Newcastle? I'll bring Liam in as well for this conversation because they're the same pair that played predominantly in the Championship season nearly 5 years ago now. Why have we still got Lascelles and Clark at centre-half, Andrew?
I think Lascelles was fortunate to come straight back in today, wasn't he? I think the fact that he's club captain probably meant that's why he came in, but I don't think he's in the top 3 centre-halves of the club, if I'm personally honest. Depending on the game, footballing wise, he's probably the 5th best centre-back we've got. And I include Dummett in that picture, and he's not predominantly a centre-back, he's a left-back. So I think Lascelles is, a lot of fans are still remembering the words he said in the past rather than the actions that he showed lately.
Liam, where do you stand on this one? Because 5 years ago, Lascelles and Clark are in the Championship. Both had a very good season, but it's the Championship, and it's been 4 years since then. Do you think Lascelles and Clark still give you the same confidence in the backline for Newcastle?
No, I think Lascelles definitely needs a run of games where he's actually playing well, and I think Clark. Not that I'm saying they're not saying the bad players, but obviously you want to progress, and it's the same old story. We've got half of that team is the team we went down with.
Yeah,
you think about it, like Darlow, Hayden, Lascelles,
Bale.
Who?
Bale.
If we said Bale there, I was like, well, he definitely Gale, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like, obviously, we're not going to have massive turnover of players every season, but, like, you've got, obviously, Shaw got injured. He's going to be out. He'll probably never play for the club again. And you've got one decision I've never understood was why Lejeune went to Spain to get fitness.
Definitely.
Unless
I think
he's...
it's time we're going to keep him. Why not just
Yeah.
keep him around? Like, it just baffles me. It really does. It really, really does. Jamal Lewis, Andrew. I saw a lot of negativity towards him today on the social media before I came on. I always like to go on Twitter and Facebook and see what people are saying. And I thought Jamal Lewis was poor, but I don't think he was helped at all by Saint-Maximin today. And I think, is he doing enough, Jamal Lewis? Because I don't think going forward he's really delivered much in the last couple of games.
I think the whole point we're buying him was to have that more positive effect going forward, wasn't it? But really, the style of play that we have, he's never really had much of a chance to show that attacking game. For a want of someone being injured in front of him, so he's been depended on for a little bit. But I think just today, I'm not saying that he was perfect today. I'm not. He made mistakes a couple of times. Hasselqueta got in behind him a couple of times. But I think a lot of the criticism is going to come back from the moments that he was involved in, because ASM didn't come back. I mean, how many times did the camera span to Lewis, shouting him to come and help him? And I think that's that's Lascelles' job. He was in the team. Maybe that message didn't get across ASM, because all I seen was his head go down in the second half before he went off. And then Carroll came on a whinging mission when he came on. All he did was whinge, give a foul away, whinge about it. So it's worrying that the fact that all these players that we're seeing positive performances from recently, their heads were down a little bit today.
I don't like this negativity though, Liam. Why would it be negative? I mean like as in terms of the tactics. I'm not mean like just from the fans, but like the tactics wise, it's so negative. Yes, it's Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Manchester United. But just come on, dude. Just be a bit more. I don't know. Proactive. Be a bit more positive. Like I saw more positivity from Graham Jones again tonight. It was like every time they've always got that little iPad or screen or monitor, whatever it is, at the bottom of next to the dugout. And all I can see is Graham Jones kind of almost telling Stephen Clement how it works, rather than.
I'm sure there's going to be another one of them moments on Facebook today, because there was a pan. Graham Jones was sitting talking to the lad next to him, and Steve Bruce is having a little look over and just thinking, "Thank you very much, guys. Someone's going to record that and put something up later." Because it does look as if we are managed by Graham Jones at the moment rather than Steve Bruce.
Liam, do you think that Steve Bruce is probably going to get very angry or very irritated that Graham Jones is, again, he's going to have to ask questions about the fans saying that Graham Jones is making a difference and he's not getting any credit or whatever? What do you think, Liam, on this?
Bruce gets angry all the time now. There's no wonder the press don't know how to speak to him. Do you know what I mean? It just seems like if people need help in the job, they need help in the job. And if someone's coming in, but I think he's like stealing Bruce's limelight. Like we won two games out of 4, I think it was, and it was all Graham Jones. It wasn't a Steve Bruce masterclass according to the press, and Bruce won't want that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course he will. I'm sorry, I just saw something in the corner of the eye. I'm watching. I've got Sky Sports behind me on mute, but I just saw Laurent Robert score 2 absolute worldies against Spurs, right? And I just thought, oh my God, what I'd do to have Laurent Robert back in this football team. It'd be,
Those were the days.
Those were the days. I loved every single second of those days. Final question for you, Andrew, before we get somebody else on. Man United on the weekend. Would you take 2-0 Man United right now?
I think, depending on a performance, I don't mind if we get beat 4-0. If we're in the game and we're forcing Man United and we get caught on the break or whatever, as long as we can watch the game as the Newcastle supporter and go and clap the team up and go, well, they had a go. It's kind of hard when you see them play like that. Yes, they're putting effort in, but all we want to do is be able to sit and give an hour or a half of a day away from the kids or whatever it be and enjoy the game. And I didn't exactly enjoy that. I could have been sitting playing FIFA.
Oh, I think everybody would have done that. I know Liam's a big FIFA fan, so I think he'd have been right up for that as well.
I'm actually not. I hate it.
You're not? Don't give me that.
I prefer more at the moment. I'm liking Star Wars, so
never ever watched Star Wars in your life, you know.
Well,
No,
we're
that's
not
quite
friends
off
anymore.
topic, but just don't get it at all. But Andrew, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully, we'll see you on Sunday evening after the Man United game, regardless of the scoreline.
All the best, guys. Take
All
care.
right, speak to you later, mate. Bye-bye.
Yeah, if you want to come on, we've still got plenty of time. The link will be in the top of the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. There's a few people in the queue, but we'll definitely get you on before the end of the show. And Liam, who we got next?
Elliot.
Good evening.
Hello, mate.
Good evening.
Good evening. What did you think of the game tonight?
Great. Sorry. Great game. Great game for Chelsea. Great game for Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea were really good tonight at times in the first half.
But Tito Werner, man of the match. But I much enjoy watching the games. I much prefer watching the teams in the bottom three, for etc. Sheffield United, West Brom and Fulham. I enjoy them losing all of their games. Hopefully they lose all the rest of the games, because watching Newcastle United is so dull and boring. It's like watching paint dry.
It is, isn't it? It's just so tough to watch at times, Liam, isn't it?
Not recently, it hasn't been, but today it was. I was sitting there thinking, I'm gonna do some mine, and me, I'm not bored.
Yeah.
What did you make of Newcastle going forward tonight, mate?
Non-existent.
Really tough, because we got Man U, but I'm so wary of 30 time.
Oh no.
I really hate Man U, but I don't think we'll get anything from them. Nah, it's a write-off, like most of you lads have said. It's a write-off, but sadly going forward, I think it's the championship coming.
Oh no, I hope not, but it is worrying, Liam.
But I really hope the bottom three keep losing, but the way we've got almost out till April, there's no contingency plan, even though the Whitedale is a good player. The Whitedale, Carroll doesn't score goals. Joe Linton can't score a goal. He's better getting it. He's better for getting his hair cut at the barber.
Yeah, it's tough, Liam, isn't it? Because we're trying to be positive as much as we can.
You can't be positive, because if any of us lads went down to Stamford Bridge, we would have. If any of us lads went down to Stamford Bridge to watch that game, it wouldn't have been value for money. I'm really pleased. Fans on there. I'm saving my seat in Newcastle United to watch top quality championship football with when we had Rafa Benitez. But it will be different with the Cabernet experiment. I'm taking any takeover talk as a pinch of salt. The media just like to wind up the fans.
Yeah, they do, and I have to say, and I think Lisa's commenting there, Elliot. Everyone's loving your passion in the comments as well, so keep it up. And honestly, we should do. We could have done with you at half time, Elliot. I think instead of Steve Bruce.
Cabbage's head. If we keep Cabbage's head for like 6 months longer, we will be stuck in mid-table championship manager because we bought Cabbage's head from Sheffield Wednesday, and they're struggling in there because Sheffield Wednesday have had a positive points loss because of financial play rules. It's not Steve Bruce's fault for that, but I just think if we keep him any longer than 6 months, I can see us being a mid-table championship team. But it's painful to watch. It's absolutely dire, shambolic. But we didn't expect to get anything from Chelsea. Chelsea.
No.
Also, that we can't get anything from Fergie time at Old Trafford because they will want to keep as tight as possible because I see Man City are breaking away.
Yes, they are. Man City are breaking away, and they are top of the league by a country mile, by a massive stretch. Elliot, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on tonight.
Thank you very much. Hopefully see you Sunday night.
Yes, hopefully as well. Hopefully we've got something better to talk about.
Thank you for some inspiration to start my own channel. I might start my own channel once the fans come back.
Good, fantastic. We'll definitely recommend your channel when it comes back on.
Post-COVID.
Of course. Yeah. Elliot, thank you very much. Enjoy your evening and we'll see you on Sunday. And that was Elliot. And do you know what, Elliot, before we bring the next person in, that's the passion you want, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's someone that cares, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Who we got next?
We have Jay from Atlanta.
Jay from Atlanta. How are you, Jay?
Hey, guys. I'm doing all right. Tough following Elliot. I'm pretty passionate, but that guy, you know, get the camera here a little there. Well, I don't know if I'm tired. I don't know if I'm mad. I really don't know how to feel. I guess I got all hyped up over the Shearer video, right? And I was like, maybe we can win this thing and run around the house. Of course, that's ridiculous. I didn't really think that. I said we'd give up 2 goals. We cannot defend. We can't defend if we have all of our best players. Like, that's just not what we do here. Our only hope is to attack, and attacking into the face of a side like that is, you know, that's not a great strategy, but what the hell else are you going to do, right? So I love watching the game with everybody, and you see people that are clearly angry in the chat, like, and I get like that for some matches too, and then some matches I'm just a little distanced, you know. Are you guys mad? Like, I'm not saying there aren't problems, but you know, like, are you guys mad today? Are you actually angry?
I'm not angry tonight, Jay. I have to be honest, and that's only because I kind of expected us to lose tonight, and I don't like saying that, and I don't like saying that Newcastle have lost before we even get on the pitch, but I'll tell you what was a little fascinating thing today. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you, because obviously I don't know if they picked it up in where you are, Jay. But beforehand, when on Sky, half the team came out, and then the rest of the kind of players just followed. There was like no cohesion between the players before they even walked onto the pitch. And Sky picked up on that, and I just thought, you know, that's as stupid as it sounds, that 11 players didn't even walk together or walk out together. It was just.
I did not see that.
It just didn't bode well for me at all. But The question I'm going to ask you, Jay, is about our fullbacks, Jamal Lewis and Emil Kraft. They seem to be getting the most hate at the minute.
Yeah. Popular.
What did you make of their performances tonight?
What I expected. I was pleased to see Lewis had a pretty good game last week. That's great, but just not consistent, and Kraft is not up to the standard. I was fine to have Manquillo the rest of the year. Not like I was like thrilled, but I was like, okay, this is going to be our right back. Goodbye, Yedlin. We're okay. Now we're down to that. Well, maybe they are playing at their level, but you do the stupid things they're doing and let people just go by them like we do. Of course you're going to get the hate. I don't feel for you. You're a professional. You get paid, right? The fact that you are not up to the Premier League standard and you're still out there has got nothing to do with it, right? I can empathize with you as a human, but I need my backs to do their damn job. And they are not capable of doing that job. You could play 8 at the back and they'd still ship goals, right? They're not the answer to whatever will keep us up. We're going to have to outscore other teams that we can beat and take those 3 points. It's that, and we're down.
Do you worry with the goals that we conceded tonight as well, Jay? The first, so easy for Werner to run past I'm going to say just Kraft. I know Hayden was kindly running towards him, but we'll just go with Kraft on that. And it was a simple tackle for Giroud in the end. And then the set piece, it just hits off Lascelles, but Jamal Lewis is just ball watching. He's asleep.
Literally watching. So cool. I went back and watched that part again. He is covering 1 meter of the pitch and watching the ball. So if that ball comes into that 1 meter, he might move at it. But other than that, it's ball watching. And by the way, I don't think that's going to be different. I don't think that's going to change. We got Dummett, we got some other options, we got people that are hurt, but we're going to ship goals, period. Like, we have to score goals to get any points. That's it. And Dubravka, I get it, Darlow's not been doing as well, but that's not how we're going to stay up. Our keeper decision is not, I can go either way, right? I don't have a super strong opinion, but our keeper decision is not going to be what keeps us up. We score goals or we go down. That's where I'm at.
I think the question was, Liam, tonight, who was going to play up front? And Dwight Gale got the nod tonight, and there's been we've had a couple of people on saying that Dwight Gale didn't really do enough today. What has he got to do more, Liam, in these games that are coming up? Because I would imagine he'll start against Manchester United as well.
See, for me, I think Gale starting was the right idea because he's probably like for like similar to Wilson than anybody else is in the team. But I don't think we kind of really single out Gale out of this game because the front three didn't really do much. Like ASM didn't do much, Miggy didn't do much. So kind of really just solely single out Gale. But there was one interesting thing I seen one of the journalists tweet that when we were defending a corner, Gale was the only one talking.
Huh.
And you think about it, and you think about it with defending the corner. So you've got your captain Clark and Darlow, and he's the centre forwards talking. It just goes to show that you might not have had the best game, but if he's the only one communicating, I'd rather have someone communicating than nothing at all. Do you know what I mean?
That's another telling sign right there, along with how they come out of the pitch. Those little things add up to how you're playing as a team, right? That is. I also was kind of excited to see Gale out there. I'm not deluded about his ability, but I didn't have a problem tonight. Say again?
Would you have started tonight?
Out of what we got, I think so. I think so. I'm not a big fan of the other people that we call strikers, whether they are or not. I'm just not. So I'll take someone who is a striker, even if they're a championship striker, right? So I wasn't too upset about that. I still think, I was all excited for the game, but 4-3 with our formation. But we played, I realized we spent a lot of time in their half, and we actually didn't get countered quite as horribly as I thought we were about to get a few times, even though we didn't do great. But it just seems like every formation that we play is infected by Steve Bruce. Like during the chat, we were talking about how Steve Bruce is saying things, everybody else almost is looking at him like, we don't know what you're saying, boss. I feel like I don't know, I just feel like he's a big drag on any kind of going forward thing that we do. But I'm really not in panic mode yet.
Why? Because Fulham have got 2 winnable games this week, Jay.
That totally is it. They have a game in hand on us, right? You described Man City as having a huge lead at the top of 7 points. Now, Man City tends to win games, and they're likely to hold their lead, right? So that's better than our 7 points to Burnley. But down to Fulham. But the rest of our schedules, I just tallied them up real quick in a spreadsheet here. They're pretty similar pound for pound. Who we got left? That's not the best way to evaluate a schedule. The team with the best form will take this. I think that really since the Everton game, we have a different kind of dumpster fire, right? It's still a dumpster fire, but it's a different kind of dumpster fire than we've had, say, in January. So I'm not saying I'm unconcerned. I'm saying that they're also shite too, right? And, none of us is going to run out the league with what we have left. So that's where I'm at.
Liam, how many points do you think Fulham could pick up in the next, say, week? Because I think they could easily get 4 points and we're right back in it again.
Yeah, it's 2 winnable games for Fulham, and what's going to be even more annoying is if Fulham relegate us, right? Do you know who their striker used to play for?
Mitrovic. It's just written in the stars.
Oh. No, not even Mitrovic. Josh Meyer, who used to play for Sunderland. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be like, we're going to hear about. But after these 2 games, they've got Palace as well. And without Zaha, they're looking absolutely shocking. So that could be 9 points that you could get, and that's overtaking them. But the only good, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but then that would bring a cluster of teams back into it. Because I think if you look at the moment, there's about 5 points between 6 or 7 different teams at the bottom. So
it's going to be interesting.
If I were the manager, I would go forward. And when you fired me at the end of the year for being relegated, I would be like, our goal difference doesn't suck, right? That's the hill. What else are you going to do here? What's your plan to defend with this team? Like, show me that wisdom. You could bring in anybody. Bielsa couldn't defend with our team either, right? You can't defend with the players we have. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's a lock, but they got a tough row. We got a tough row. We'll see.
I'll leave you in this with Jay, because my dad always says this every season. The 3 teams with the worst goal difference generally go down. And at the minute, Sheffield United, West Brom, and then it's us and Palace with the next worst goal difference. And I know Palace have got 4 points on us, and they probably will be okay. But he says 9 times out of 10, it's normally the 3 teams with the worst goal difference. And you talk about the defence tonight. I hope he's not right, but it's quite a stat.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyone who's comfortable right now, you are not paying attention. You are not watching.
Jay, it's been brilliant having you on. As always, brilliant to talk to. Hopefully, we'll see you after the Manchester United game on Sunday.
I'm sure you will. Bring back the pirate costume, Liam. Makes everyone.
That's only when I'm over, mate.
Everyone else gets upset. I enjoy it. So, good times. See you, lads.
Thank you very much for your time. Cheers now. Just seen a Man United fan channel comment below. If you're still listening, put your email address in the comments, and one of us will email you, and we'll try and sort something out later in the week. And who's next, Liam? We'll try and get a couple on if you need to.
We've got Dylan, and we'll just bring one in at the moment.
One at a time, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Dylan, welcome to the Family Action Show. How are you?
Well, same old, really.
Yeah, what did you make of it tonight?
Deflated, pretty much. Sorry?
What did you make of the performance tonight?
First half was absolutely abysmal. We could have easily been 6-0 down, like not even an exaggeration. Second half was an improvement, but still nowhere up to par.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are saying exactly the same thing, Dylan. Where do Newcastle need to improve in the short term?
The only thing, defensively, definitely, but I have no hope for that whatsoever. And then obviously attacking wise too, because our attacking options now, you take Wilson out of the equation, we're in big trouble. Because Gale, Joelinton, and Carroll, as your 3 kind of main, you could say, provider of goals. You're not going to go far with that.
Yeah, I think Wilson is a huge miss, Dylan, and
Massive.
it's not just his goals; it's his all-round game, isn't it?
It is, because he's a proper centre forward and he works really hard for the team, and he's quick for the size he is. We say in Ireland, he's like a bull. He'll back into players. He'll offer. He's kind of the same shape as Joe Linton, but offers so much more than him. Joe Linton is everything Wilson is not, or other way around, or whatever. Not bigging up Joe Linton.
I don't think many people have since he's been in Newcastle bigging up Joe Linton. I don't think that's been on the top of people's lips. But yeah, what did you make of our defence today? Because especially in the first half, 2-0 flattered us at times.
Once I saw the starting 11, the back four with Lascelles. Clark is okay. He's a solid 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. But the two fullbacks and Lascelles in a back four, you're just screaming for trouble.
Yeah, but really, Liam, I'll bring you in on this one. Callum, obviously, Dylan's mentioned about Callum Wilson there, but you need to expect likes of ASM to do a lot more, Miguel Miron to do more, and particularly ASM, Liam. I thought you had a massive off day today.
I think, like I've said previously, I think all the front three had an off day. But then, can you see that maybe down to the midfield, because they weren't really getting much from the midfield, or they would have to try and start doing things from the halfway line, and it's just well, they're not going to be able to take on the full Chelsea team. They might be able to take on a couple of players, but then it's just like a wall of blue.
It was, but do you not think, Dylan, that ASM should be going? Do you know what? We've lost a top player. I'm going to show why I get all the credit pretty much in Newcastle, because he does get a lot of credit, not much criticism, because his performances when he's on it, they are some brilliant performances.
That's it. You think he's almost over trying, because he knows he's head and shoulders above the rest of the players. Likelihood is, if we go down, and I am more afraid now than I would have been at any stage, because Fulham are playing a lot better now. He'll be one of the first to go. He gave it away a lot tonight, but that was more with him looking at the teammates think, fuck this, I'll grab the bull by the horns, because none of the other players can actually inspire any of us or anyone else to create something.
Yeah, I think as well, everyone's talking about Fulham, and people are getting worried, Dylan, because Fulham have got Burnley on Wednesday, Sheffield United, and then they've got Crystal Palace away, which Palace is very much hot and cold. You don't know what sort of game you're going to get from them. If they are above us by the time they play Crystal Palace, or after they play Crystal Palace, do you think that's if Steve Bruce will still be the Newcastle manager?
Well, actually, he's taken his chance with Bruce. I think he should have been out of the job weeks ago. But if Ashley was so worried, Bruce had been gone by now. He's at that stage now. He's just rolling the dice. If we stay up, we stay up. And to him, if we go down, look, he still gets the Premier League TV money. I don't know if that's the same now as before, but he's not going to invest into the squad if we go into the Championship. So obviously it'd be a bigger loss if we go down. But to Mike Ashley, it means less motivation for him to actually put his hand in his pocket for when we are in the Championship.
Yeah. Out of those 3 games that Fulham have got, Dylan, how many points do you think they'll get? Burnley away.
It's a tough
Sheffield
one.
United, Palace away.
Yeah. See, you could say easily they could get 7 points. They could get 1 point. Fulham could be very hit and miss. They're looking really good lately, but it's happened even over the years. A squad will be riding the crest of a wave of a good run. Say Everton losing to Fulham. Everton were bankers to beat them. You can't really predict.
I was calling something different last night, and it didn't begin with B, but it sounded very similar. I have to be honest. After I heard they got beat 2-0, but yeah, I get your point. where do we go from here? Because it's Manchester United on Sunday.
Well, that's a write-off already.
Do you think Newcastle have to change their tactics? A lot of people are saying 5 at the back. Do you agree with that, Dylan?
With what we have at the moment, I think if that's the back line we have going forward, I think as much as I hate the 5 at the back, you almost think that's a necessity because Lascelles, Lewis, Kraft and Clark, albeit Clark's a decent defender, you're going to ship goals whoever you're against.
Yeah.
Lascelles is a liability. Kraft is, I call him crap with a K, and Lewis is still, he could improve, but no, still not giving me much hope.
Dylan, in a word, are Newcastle staying up this season?
Can I use a word? Undecided.
Yes or no?
Want to say yes as much as I can, but we are in a good position, but I would lean slightly to no, but that's hopefully me just jinxing it. That's so that we do stay up.
Dylan, it's been brilliant having you on. Hopefully we'll have you back on after the Manchester United game on Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheers, lads. See you.
See you later, pal.
Liam, in a word, do you think Newcastle are going to stay up?
We are.
We are.
That's 2 words, actually. So, yes, we will stay up.
It's the inner North Shields coming out of you, Liam. The inner NE29.
Yeah.
Who's next, mate?
Holly is next.
Holly, thank you very much for waiting. I know it's been a long evening so far, but how are you?
I'm okay. I could be better.
I can't seem to hear you, Holly. I don't know if you can you hear Liam or not?
Yeah, probably just you again.
I'll refresh 2 seconds. If you just want to carry on, Liam, for 2 seconds, and I'll just refresh.
So what did you make of the game?
Well, the second half was slightly more positive than the first half, but overall it was nothing to be inspired by whatsoever. I'm starting to get really, really worried now. Like, just we're slipping closer and closer towards the bottom 3, and I just really think that we could fall into it very soon.
Yeah, well, especially with the games that Fulham have got, haven't they? Like, they've got pretty much 3 winnable games, so there could be 9 points, and there could be above it in like less than a week, or just a bit more than a week.
I know. I was thinking that would be fine. Like, obviously we had the 10-point gap, but I feel like we all might have been a bit too overconfident in thinking that would like stay up and would be okay, because now I do think that there's a massive chance that we could win that bottom 3 if something doesn't change soon.
It's going to be fascinating to see what's going on. Holly, what did you make of the match tonight? Because, you know, Chelsea, I thought they were there for the taking in the second half. I thought they really, really made it like just hard work for their own fans to watch, because I think they just kind of knew if we sit back, we'll easily win this game. And Newcastle had the slightest of moments through Willock's header, Shelby's free kick, but that was really about it. We never really made kettle work tonight, did we?
No, we looked like we were a few weeks ago when we didn't have any of the wins that we got in the past couple of games. Like, again, we just regressed, and I went into the game thinking that would easily get at least a point. Like, that might have been a bit too optimistic, but obviously I watched the previous game and I thought they were definitely there for the taking, and then tonight we just looked dreadful, to be honest. It was, like I said, it was slightly more positive in the second half, but it still wasn't good enough, and the first half was just dreadful. I think we were lucky to go into the second half 2-0 down, because I think it could easily been 3, 4, even 5.
We've been talking about who maybe was the man of the match, or as Liam rightly said, it's the moron of the match, which I think was absolutely brilliant.
That was James, actually.
Was that James? Is it?
That was James.
Apologies to James, who's still watching. I thought it was you, Liam. I was going to give you credit there. Who was the worst player on the pitch for Newcastle tonight, Holly?
I think it was Jamal Lewis. I know that he didn't get much support from obviously Saint-Maximin, but I just thought he was so poor. Like like again, he started to look a little bit better. I've criticised him all season, but tonight he was just shocking. And I would take him out the lineup, and I'd rather have Murphy in there because like he's such a liability for me.
Would you not put Richie in there because he's more because he's left forward? Might be a bit more a familiar role for maybe a Richie than a Murphy.
Maybe, but I don't know whether I would want to like risk it putting Richie in because I think he's like a decent player to come in off the bench and stuff like that. But I think he is like just past it now. Like I think his legs are gone, and I still want us to obviously try and like press on and get more up the pitch. And I don't want us to be too defensive. And if we brought Richie in, I feel like we would obviously be more defensive, and then Murphy can help bring us forward up the pitch, which we need.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment. It has to be said, but Steve Bruce is facing a lot of criticism as well. Again, Holly, it's just not going to go away, is it? And a performance, especially in the first half, isn't going to do any favours.
Not at all. Same messages we've been seeing all season. Just he needs to go as soon as possible, but it won't happen under Mike Ashley. And I said that on Twitter that I think even if he was to go now and we brought in a replacement, I'm not even sure if we would have enough to stay up because, like, I think the damage he's done to the squad, even mentally, because you look at them and they've got like no confidence whatsoever. I think that would take a long time to build back up and get the team playing at their best, and I don't think we've got enough time left. But if we do sack him, it needs to be now, while we have got that little gap, because once we slip into that bottom three, it's just going to get harder and harder to get back out of it. But honestly, no matter what, I don't think Mike Ashley will sack him this season.
Liam, do you agree with what Holly's saying? Do you think Mike Ashley will panic and push the button, or do you think he'll just continue with Steve Bruce for the time being?
He'll only panic once we're in the bottom three, in my opinion. Bruce is doing what his objective was, and his objective is to keep in the Premier League. So
yeah, it's going to be fascinating next couple of weeks. Ryan Fraser, for me, I'd like to see him on a bit earlier, Holly. I think he would have possibly made a little bit of a difference, but he was second on after Joe Linton. It just doesn't feel any confidence when Joe Linton's coming on before Ryan Fraser, does it?
No, for me, when we brought Joe Linton on, that felt like we were admitting defeat. Like, I know that seems harsh, but when you bring on Joe Linton, it just doesn't fill you with like a lot of confidence. I think there's a lot better subs we could have made, and we should have made them earlier. But this is a problem that I think Steve Bruce has. He always makes his substitutions like far too late in the game, like when they don't have a chance to make enough of an impact. But yeah, I think Fraser definitely would have been someone I would have brought on earlier because he's one that could definitely change up the game.
100%. He might even start against Manchester United, but I think it's either him or Alan Saint-Maximin at the minute. I just don't see both of them starting in the current formation that we're playing. Final question, Holly, because we've still got a couple of people to get on, and we've got just over 15 minutes left of the fan reaction show. And we've got Scoring the Players. Me, again, I'm on a long shift tonight. Me, Sam, and Carl will be on Scoring the Players, so make sure you keep tuned for that a little bit later on. But Man United at the weekend, you were positive that Chelsea, you might get a point against Chelsea tonight. Are you positive that we can get something at Old Trafford, or do you think it might be a similar performance tonight?
I think it'll be worse than tonight. Like, I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but I wouldn't have tipped us to win that game even before the Chelsea game, because I think Man United have been like outstanding this season, and I would predict probably a 3-0 at best.
I hope not. But yeah, it does look like the Man United game is going to be a tough watch anyway. But Holly, thank you very much for coming on tonight. Hopefully we'll see you on the after the fan reaction show after the Manchester United game on Sunday. But thanks for being very patient.
No problem. See you later.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Liam, hopefully it's not going to be 3-0 Man United on Sunday. I don't know if I can do this again, like.
Well, it's gonna happen, so you're gonna have to do it again, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? That's the problem.
Have we got anybody else waiting, mate?
Yeah, we've got Lewis, who's been waiting patiently.
Lewis, thank you very much for waiting to talk about Chelsea 2, Newcastle 0. A tough watch, wasn't it?
Well, do you know what? I turned it off at half time. I mean, I haven't been on the show. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been on the show since the 2-0 lead defeat to Arsenal. Because we've had a couple of good results and a couple of good performances here and there, but I mean, I don't pay for football myself because I don't feel like it's worth paying to watch that crap. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many things wrong with how we're playing. I mean, it's just typical Bruce, isn't it? He gets a good result against Southampton, and then he thinks, oh, okay, Wilson's injured. I know what I'll do. I'll play Gal, but Gal's a poacher. You don't play him as an inside forward on the right-hand side. He was so isolated. It was unbelievable. You know, we say Almiron's man of the match for all his running that he does. When you're praising a player that simply just runs around, you know, it's not filling you with confidence, is it? Especially when you're supposed to be watching football. I mean, in terms of the midfield, I mean, when I was watching the first half, I was thinking to myself, is Joe Willock playing on the right-hand side? Because I didn't know who was meant to be playing right-hand side, if it was meant to be Almiron or what. But, I mean, in that midfield, you need a bit of a dynamic structure, and Shelby just doesn't offer you that. If you're going to play Hayden, you need to play Willock and Matty Longstaff. You need a bit of energy in that midfield, you know, to give you a chance. And Shelby's just so lack-a-day in how he just sort of wanders around the pitch, does a couple of, 5-yard passes, pass it backwards, and then that's it.
Would you drop him next game?
It depends on what formation we play, because I know a lot of people are saying about 5 at the back, and that's fine, but if you look at the centre halves we've got to choose from. I mean, I'd play Dummett in a free. If we're going to play 3 centre halves, I think Dummett is great as a centre half. And I think if he's there alongside Fernandez and Clark or Lascelles, I think that would do a decent job. But again, it's going back to that sort of negative mindset, and it doesn't do us any favours. I mean, when all the presenters on the media go on about, Darlow's most saved this season, that's not a stat to be proud of. It just means we get attacked a lot. Do you know what I mean?
It probably benefits Carl Darlow more than anything else, Dean, doesn't it? It probably puts his credentials up even higher.
Oh, he must be having the time of his life. He's thinking, yeah, I'm being put to work here. I'm showing everyone how good I am. But it's not doing us as a team any favours, is it?
You talk about Paul Dummett, Lewis, as a good centre-half, and I do agree that he is, but I think, do you not think because Jamal Lewis is struggling so much at left-back, do you think you'd take him out of the team and probably put Dummett in at left-back if Steve Bruce decides to go forward at the back again? Or does he persist with him?
If he goes forward at the back, then it's fine playing Dummett there, as long as he doesn't cross the halfway line, because he hasn't got the legs to get up and down. I mean, we should have loaned Willems. You know, he was fit, he's recovered from his injury. We needed another left back. You know, you can't rely on Richie to be defensive because he is a winger. Richie by trade is a winger, and it takes time for a player like that to adjust. It's like Olivier Bernard. When he first came to us, he was a winger by trade. But Bobby Robson took him under his wing, and he eventually became a great left back for us. But Richie, unfortunately, is too long in the tooth to do that.
Yeah, it's like when you go back on tonight, second half, Willock actually had probably Newcastle's best chance tonight with that header, which kept us saved. And yes, it was probably slightly difficult for him, but you still expect him to save it. What he made of Joe Willock for the first 2 performances, I think he's impressed well, even though tonight it wasn't a great team performance. I thought he did okay in glimpses. Yeah,
I mean, Willock, he gives us energy, which is what we need in midfield, because you've got Hayden, who defensively is our best player, and having him in midfield, again, you need people in front of him to offer you energy. And I think Matty Longstaff and Joe Willock can build a solid relationship and get a good understanding of how each other play. And again, offer that sort of dynamism, that sort of rotation in midfield, which we need, because it's just so predictable what we try to do in that midfield, and it's just no sort of structure to how we play. So we end up just humping it upfield, and then we just sit behind the ball again. There's no, it's not exciting to watch at all. But yeah, I mean, when I was listening to the first half, I mean, I think it was Andy Townsend was saying about, everyone's talking about Graham Jones doing a good job and having a good impact and stuff, and Steve Bruce not getting the credit, which is unfair. And I'm thinking, you're joking. I mean, a blind man can see that since Graham Jones has come in, like he's had a massive impact. Bruce has done fuck all.
Would you sack him tonight?
Bruce, 100%. I said that after the Arsenal game. I said I'd either have Graham Potter in, I'd have Scotty Parker in, I'd have anyone over Steve Bruce. I'd even have Chris Hughton back. I really would. I mean, I was chatting to sorry, mate, I can't remember your name, but I was chatting to you before the game, before the coming on, and I dug out an old picture that I used to have of me and Bobby Robson.
Oh, what a picture that is. Let's just keep that there for 2 seconds, Lewis. Keep that there. Let's have a look. That's a quality picture. That's absolutely brilliant. If you're gonna end an evening, just look at that picture. That makes you feel better as a Newcastle fan and seeing the great and the late Sir Bobby Robson. What a moment that must have been.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, for those of you that don't know, obviously that is Bobby Robson, probably arguably our best manager we've ever had, Sir Bobby, shall I say. But, you know, it draws a comparison. You look at who we've got at the moment, Steve Bruce, and if you're a player in that dressing room, you're not going to feel motivated to step 1 foot on that pitch. You know, if you had Bobby Robson, you're more likely to sort of, you know, have a bit of self-belief about yourself, you know, and want to actually try. You've got Steve Bruce just sort of mumbling under his breath and talking about what kebab he's going to have later. You're not going to want to do anything, are you? Really?
100%. Last question, because we've got 2 more people that we're going to try and sneak in before we finish this evening. Lewis, prediction for the game against Man United on Sunday.
Again, it all comes down to what team he puts out. But I think we'll score, but I think it'll be about 3-1 because. I mean, you look at that game against West Brom, you know, they played Dieng up front, who's an absolute handful. You know, he bullied Lindelof, he bullied Maguire. Essentially, I'd follow the same blueprint. Put Carroll up there. What have you got to lose? You know, no one likes playing against Andy Carroll. He's all air bows and long hair. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want up front. And without Wilson, you need to change it. Joe Linton offers us absolute fuck all, 40 million down the drain. And again, you know, like you said earlier, Mike Ashley won't sell. I still think even if we do get relegated, he'll stick with Steve Bruce because he's a championship manager. So,
yeah, hit the nail on the head there, Lewis. Championship manager managing a Premier League team. But there we go. We move on. But Lewis, thank you very much for coming on tonight. Hopefully, we'll see you after the game against Man United on Sunday, mate.
Yeah, I think I will. I think I will this time. Yeah, cheers, lads.
See you later, mate.
Thank you very much. Liam, if there's anybody that we can bring on, just bring them on because we've only got we've got about 5 minutes left.
No worries.
There we go. I think I've seen, is it a Connor or something? I've got Adam.
Adam and Connor.
Adam, long time no see. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Good to be on. I haven't been on the show here in a while, so I thought I'd pop in.
I know. And good evening to you, Connor. Can you hear us, Connor?
Hi, all right. I'm hoping my Wi-Fi plays ball here because I'm trying to go out. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's not doing too bad at the minute. Adam, I'll let you quickly start things off. Quick summary for the game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Connor do most of the talking. I just want to get a couple of points across. Obviously, doing the watch-alongs, you kind of don't see a whole true reflection of the game because you're talking to fans and this and that. So, like, just going off what I've seen on socials and, like, after, obviously, the 2 fullbacks are getting a lot of hammer. Like, Liam will be out of the moon, Lewis and Kraft are getting highly criticised. One player who's getting away with murder at the minute, I haven't been on the whole chat, but John Joe Shelby's getting away with murder. He's bringing nothing to this team at the minute. His work rate's shocking. He doesn't look like he wants to be here. His set pieces are abysmal. Just not good enough. There's something seriously wrong with his team. I know we're getting the odd good result, Southampton, Everton. You know, me and Lee spoke about the game beforehand about pride, and it was, but now, and then tonight, back to the usual. Just not good enough. You know, that team doesn't look like they know they're in 17th spot in the Premier League. They have to fight for their lives to get out. Yeah, just the stuff on the social media is not good at the minute. There's obviously a lot of people angry again at Bruce. I think it's just the club's that's just rotten really from top to bottom. It could be a tragic end to this season, to be honest. I'll let the other lads finish off, but yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. Connor, it was difficult to watch tonight. I agree completely with what Adam said. It was like they were in cruise control most of the game today, which isn't a good sign when you're 17th in the league, is it, Connor?
I was the same as the lad you've just had on before. I turned it off at half time, something I've not actually done. It's getting to the point where I don't even want to watch my team, which is something I never thought I'd say. I've had a season ticket for 13 years now.
After almost Ashley year, isn't it?
But half, I couldn't even tell you what happened in the second half. I've seen on Twitter apparently we're a bit better, but we've still got beat, so what does it really matter?
I think that's the mood at the minute, isn't it, Adam? It's just deflating.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Steve Bruce after he's come out and he said first half was poor, which it was, and he's acknowledged the mistakes, but he said second half was better. It was a bit, but it's not good enough. It's really not good enough. Carl Darlow, again, very subject for 2 goals. he seems to be making mistakes just when Dubravka's back.
I think it's a bit harsh, Adam. A bit harsh for me.
Well, I thought the second goal, his positioning was poor. First goal, maybe it's a bit harsh, but you know, there's just you say, like the lads have said before, you see Jolinton coming on, you're just like, oh, friggin' hell, what's, you know, yeah, Sam was poor again. It's just, I just think the manager just has to go. I'd rather give Graham Jones a shot. I'd honestly rather give Graham Jones a job than watch Steve Bruce.
Connor, I'll bring it back to you. There's a lot of fans now saying that Bruce just needs to go. You know, we've seen the news with the death threats. Obviously, that is completely unacceptable. But just in terms of being a football manager and a Premier League football manager, Steve Bruce isn't up to that level. Do you think that maybe the board have got to act now, Connor?
Well, the board have got to act, but then also if Bruce claims he's a Newcastle fan, that obviously isn't true, because if you're a Newcastle fan, you'd surely just walk away. Because if I was managing that team, I'm a Newcastle fan, and I was putting the team out to play like that, I would have the team away and apologise to the fans, say, sorry, I did my best. It hasn't worked out. Now, as I'm a Newcastle fan, I'll step away. I'll let someone else come in and try and get some performances going, get you some points and get you a bit higher up the table.
Yeah, 100%.
But for me, he's not a Newcastle fan. It just doesn't make sense. He says that he has been never ever say Kraft's the best. That's right.
Yeah. I think if you are a fan, you do what you think is right.
He's like a tank. He's incredibly slow. He's scared to go anywhere, and he has someone to stop a cross coming in the box. So you're spot on for what you're saying, like he was the best right back of the club. I don't want to hear saying Kraft's the best right back, because that's just absolute rubbish.
Yeah, tell Sam that. Keep on telling Mr. Mulliner that, because we've been trying to tell him for a while. He's kind of getting through his head at the minute. So we'll have to remind him on scoring the players, which is on 2 minutes' time. So we're going to have to wrap things up there. A big thanks to Adam and to Connor. Me and Liam will finish things off.
Well done, lads.
See you later, mate.
See you later, lads. Thank you very much. Liam, you can bring it back just to the two of us.
And I forgot I was in charge. I was in your little dream world.
Yeah, a big thanks to everybody that's come on tonight. Big thanks to Liam as well. First time controls, how do you find it?
It was alright, to be fair. Like, you've just got to click a couple of buttons. It's like, it's sometimes you've just got to like learn what to do and what not to do when you can't really have the comments on when there's four people talking. So
you're getting there. You're definitely getting there. So just leave leave the NE29 lads to just get this all sorted. We'll get it done in the end anyway. But scoring the players is in the next 2 minutes. I'm literally going to make yourself a drink, come back on, and it's me, Sam, and Carl. Make sure you like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. You can smash the like button for this video as well. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for driving the channel. Yes, thank you very much, Jay. But yeah, make sure you smash the like button, like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. We're not a million miles away from 25,000 subscribers. Who would have even thought we'd get 25,000 subscribers? Exactly. Liam, thank you very much for tonight, and we'll see you in 2 minutes.
Goodbye.